How cool is this? We are at Space Camp with Rocket Drones because they have the National Student Drone Race Competition. And we are excited to talk to Brandon Turk, who is the co-founder of Rocket Drones. And thank you for joining us today.
So in 2020, Chris Tonn and Brandon Turk realized they had a problem. They were very active in the commercial drone space and they needed pilots. So what do? They go out and start a new drone company called Rocket Drones. And that's what we're here to learn about today and see a very cool collaboration with Space Force here at Space Camp. And we're super excited about that. Welcome to the EdTech Unpacked podcast, where we inspire and equip educators to create meaningful learning experiences, highlighting a thoughtful approach to the integration of technology as we teach and transform the lives of our students. I'm Aaron Long.
And I'm Desmond Suarez, and we are passionate about helping educators use technology to engage their students. So today, our get to know you question, because we are at Space Force. How cool, or Space Force is here. I'm looking at the sign right here. We're at Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama. And space is so cool. Outer space is so cool. So I want to start with our get to know you question. And we have a guest coming on later, but he's really busy today because he's running this whole event. So unfortunately, Brandon's not able to join us for this part, but maybe we'll find a way to get him into this question. But before we get into the interview, let's talk about our get to know you question. What about outer space gets you excited? What is something you love about outer space?
Martha, you want to kick it off? Do you have something?
The thing I love most about space is that it is endless.
It's
and
so
when you
overwhelming.
think about that in the concept of creation, and you think about our creator and what imagination he had, and you just put yourself in that realm, and there's so many possibilities, and it's just endless. It's not contained to our Earth.
That is pretty incredible.
I think for me, so I'm not like hugely scientific, but I love science. Okay. So I'm somewhere in the middle. Okay. I could have been a scientist, I feel like, but I just didn't pick it. So I'm fascinated by things that are evidence towards creation in the heavens. Okay. So a big one, you guys probably know some of them, but is spiral galaxies. So, from a creationist perspective, there's things that don't align with evolutionary perspective, right? And that's a big one, because if there was ever such thing as a Big Bang, how does the motion of a spiral galaxy ever even form? And it's a conundrum. And so I love things like that just support creation science, because it's pretty cool. So how about you, Desmond?
I love all those things completely. And I don't know, there's so many things that are excited about space. I love that we are now again, like doing space exploration and that, Artemis, I was in Florida and got to see from a distance, but the fireball that went through the sky, the Artemis 2 launch. And I was in California when it landed and I couldn't quite see it, but I tried to see both. That's not why I was in California. That would have been quite the journey. But I just love how we're doing it again. And I'm also excited, like they're about to launch the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope. And to be able to get those beautiful pictures, just the painting that our creator did throughout the universe. And I'm so excited to see, it's like, art on the largest canvas possible, and space is just something that's very exciting. And I wish I had been able to do Space Camp. I guess they have an adult program. So maybe that's what we got to do. Comment below if you want to see us go through Space Camp, because that would be pretty fun.
I was embarrassed to admit as we showed up today that I know nothing about Space Camp. So no, I know a little bit, but hopefully this afternoon we'll get to walk around. Something else, you're telling your story about Artemis. Have you guys ever been able to watch Space Shuttle launch? Yes. My senior class trip in high school, we're on a cruise. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay, don't get any ideas, schools out there, right? And we're coming back from our senior class trip, and it happened to be at nighttime when the shuttle was launching. So everybody goes out on deck. It was shocking how it was daytime while it was so bright. It lit up everything like daytime. It was amazing. So very cool experience to watch the shuttle go up probably towards the end of its, life. So a lot of fun.
Well, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's unpack the tech. All right, so we're here with our guests, Brandon and Martha. So Martha's our reoccurring guest. Hopefully you guys remember her. She's she's the Educational Technology Director of the NAD, and we're big fans of hers. But we also have Brandon here with Rocket Drones. And so Brandon, do you mind introducing yourself and explaining what's going on here?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us in, guys. We're glad that you're here set up in front of the space shuttle. How cool.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera, but we got a space shuttle right here.
About to blast off, yes. So we are here at Huntsville, Alabama, at the National Space and Rocket Center, where we are partnered with them on drone training. And this is the first annual Rocket Drones National Student Competition, where we bring in the rocket drone students from around America to show their skill sets and show us what they can do and see all that hard work come out.
That's awesome. Brandon, how did you guys get to this point? We were talking a little bit ahead of time, and we met Brandon last summer at ISTE and connected there. You guys might have even seen a short interview we did with him at ISTE, but how did you guys get to this place coming out of the drone industry into the education side? Just tell us about that hop over.
Sure. It was quite the transition. We thought working government contracts was tough, but education, man, whole new world. We came into this world, everybody that works at Rocket either owns or works for an aviation company. I came into drones from flying aircraft into the drone world, and so everybody in the company has experience with that. And the reason Rocket was formed wasn't because it was like, hey, let's start an education company. It was as we were working our commercial drone companies, and as other companies across the country are, there's a lot of drone pilots, but they're kind of like drivers that just turned 16, and they're not the best pilots. You know, the aircraft that we fly are very expensive. The payloads, insurance is very high. So we said, you know what? We know how to build properly trained pilots. Let's find a bunch of teachers that can do the teacher talk, because we don't speak teacher. So we brought our teachers in to learn what we do at work. And then, so that's really our success, is our teachers helped us build this entire program. So every game, every activity, the coding of the brain, the flight skills, the memory, the personality side that they need to learn is all built into it.
That's awesome. In fact, you make a great teacher just watching you in action, man. You're everywhere. You're over here doing the training, and then you're running the competitions. We've got a ton of great footage of you in action as a great teacher. So
hair blowing, face red.
What's that?
Just like a one-room.
That's right. Just like a one-room school, all you one-room school multi-grade settings out there.
Can you tell us about like what these rocket drone programs look like at schools?
Absolutely. So this is where our teachers really helped us. We work with grades 3 all the way up through 12.
That's cool.
We tested every piece of equipment we could find from around the world, but most of the drones that come out off the shelf, they're built to last 2 to 3 months. They fall apart, which doesn't fly because schools, we need sustainability. So we custom build our own aircraft, custom design, programming, coding, big on the safety and everything. And then the big part of it is the games and activities. If I come into your school and I say, all right, guys, today we're going to learn this, they're like, ew, can't say that here. So we modified, all we do is play games. But every game uses a skill set and a muscle memory skill set that we use at work. And then we back it up with video. We just posted a new video on our YouTube channel where in our esports simulator, the pilot is doing dives down a wall. There's a bunch of gates up a wall. And then it cuts, because here we are at the Space and Rocket Center. Chantry, who's down there running timekeeping, just dove the Saturn V for Visit Alabama's new tourism commercial.
That's cool. As like a FPV drone.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And it's on their TV commercial. So for the students, they're training, like, why am I doing dives down a wall? This is weird. But then they see the video and it's like, I could do that now. So they really understand why we do the training that we do.
So in our system, the Seventh-day Adventist system, we have 688 schools.
Wow.
51% are small schools, 1, 2, or 3 room schools.
Okay.
So how would you see this kind of program working into that kind of environment?
Sure. Well, first of all, being Seventh-day Adventist, I've got to give a shout out to Newberry Park Adventist High School out north of Ventura High School. I was with y'all for 9th grade, half of 9th grade. I was a Navy brat, so I went to school all over America, but I got some time at Newberry Park, loved it, still have friends I talk to today, so love that. In your situation, we'd actually be looking at a classroom kit. This is going to be your foundational training. It doesn't matter if it's a 40-year-old or a student, everybody starts there for learning foundation, pitch, yaw, roll, terminology. How do we get into a little bit of an argument and you still want to hire me, right? How do we operate that? So a classroom kit's a perfect environment. They're built for classes up to about 24 students. A really good teacher could take it to 30. Most schools run up to 24. I'm limited to about 12 kids. After that, I go chaotic. It's like, sit down. The red hair comes out. But yeah, in a small setting, classroom kit, you'd have plenty of
That's
flight
great,
time.
because we have about 100 schools that have enrollments of 10 or less.
Oh,
and so that would be perfect.
Absolutely.
And I love how you have all of this embedded with going to life, teaching for life skills.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
You know, and what's really cool about this is, yes, we're aviators. Like, we love airplanes, helicopters, and all of it. But drone now is in every industry. We have a young lady that works for us as an intern, and she's in the medical world. And she showed us there's now a capsule you swallow for your GI tract, but it's got thrusters on it. They're actually flying through the body. And she came into our world because of that. She was like, hey, my professor told me that when I graduate, we'll be using drones. We're using drones underwater, agriculture. You know, Space Force is massive, especially, I geek out, our elementary and our middle school kids, they're going to be the ones doing the next level of sci-fi, right? Like, we already have Inspector Gadget on our wrist. Yeah. We have our watches. But these kids are going to see that next level, and that's where I geek out.
Yeah, I'll just say, too, so I think one of the things we loved when we met you at ISTE is the intentional training for industry. So this is not just like, hey, cool flash in the classroom of how you're doing ed tech. It's highly purposeful training students towards a career path that, let's go back to this because this stuck out in my mind at ISTE. What can a student make straight out of high school that's, you know, gone through the program?
That's a great question. Your entry-level pilot right out of high school is starting out around $65,000. So, you know, here I was at Radio Shack after high school making $8 an hour. Yep. Where was this 25 years? Not to show you how old I am, but where was this?
And you were telling me earlier that you already are having students graduate and then go into the careers?
We are. We have a lot of students that have already set up. They're going through the coursework. They're moving into different career industries. A lot of times they're starting out in real estate. They're going out doing internships, finding local companies, especially our manually trained pilots. Those are the hardest pilots to find. So if I just graduated with that manual training and I come to your drone company, you probably don't have a manual pilot. I just opened a whole new slew of clients for you. So it's great.
It's amazing. And you mentioned Space Force, but I don't know if we really mentioned Space Force. So right over here to our right, we were just actually chatting with Space Force a bit ago. This is a partnership, right? So where do you see that headed? Like, what's the intention of the partnership?
Yeah, you know, Space Force is very forward thinking. The next world, you know, Star Trek and beyond type thing, it really is space. So Space Force is already very, very active, more than most civilians realize. And they're expanding very quickly. And in the drone world, they use drones, but a lot of droning isn't just the piloting skill set, it's that cognitive side of the mind. When I'm flying one of my games in the classroom, if I don't notice the floor fan and how it's going to bump me, same thing, doesn't matter if I'm hacking, coding, whatever I'm doing, you've got to think 3 steps ahead. And in aviation, you know, when we're in our airplanes, we're not just enjoying the view. We're scanning, looking for traffic, and then it's airspeed, altitude. You've got so much going. So your drone pilots and your aviators sort of have that coding mentality automatically built in, which is a perfect pipeline.
Well, they've been really active over here. Something else popped out to me, though. Okay, so I'm on your website last night. Like, all right, I'm going to brush up real quick here and make sure I have my head around all the different nooks and crannies of rocket drones. Because we're super honored to be here, and this is just, it's neat collaboration with Space Camp, but also with Space Force. A lot of buzzy words there, but it's super cool. Okay, so this is your first annual, hopefully, competition, right? First annual. What jumped out at me last night is the drones are not cheap, right? But what I love is you guys have on your website a pretty extensive list of federal grants as well as private grant opportunities. And so I appreciate that. Do you want to talk a little bit about, hey, if there's a school out there, or even classroom teacher, doesn't have to be the whole school, that's interested, they see the sticker price and say, man, I don't know how I can. What do you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So rocketdrones.com, there's a find funding button. And that is, so any school that's ever purchased is on there. Every grant they've used. A good majority of our schools are going to be Perkins. But there is a listing, all of those. Now, we don't know which grant may apply to your school. That's kind of your world, but we do try to share that information. And, you know, Rocket, we're industry owned. We're not here to say we're the best, go with us. We support the entire industry because we need all of it. Those grants can be used anywhere. If you have another program you're pursuing for aviation, we're happy to help you out. Like, we don't have competitors. We don't have enemies. If you're supporting aviation, we support you. So it's open to everybody.
Very good. Now, I know that you got to run, but I just want to ask about the event a little more. Can you tell us the games that the kids are doing? Kind of maybe describe, we'll cut in some footage of them playing them. Describe the games they're doing today and what are some of the rules and stuff.
Absolutely. So we started out, let's see, this morning we did the dynamic landing challenge. So we had robot vacuums all over the place. Cool. So earlier on, we talked about the cognitive coding of the brain. If I'm chasing that vacuum trying to land, I'm not going to get very many landings because those vacuums are sporadic. But if I'm watching the vacuum and I notice, okay, it's going straight and there's a wall 3 feet ahead, if I time it right, I can land right when it hits and stops. So it's coding of the brain again. And that's where you really start to see the students break out, because you'll see some of them, they just wait, they hover, and they know when to hit it. So you got that for dynamic landing. Plus, that is now the cleanest area on the entire campus.
That was what I was thinking too. That floor is going to look different than everything else.
After that, we did a little bit of drone basketball. You know, drone and rocket drones, our aircraft are designed to be used in math class, science class, physics. So for drone basketball, we have the gate set up, the cube. They've got to fly in and do a flip to get the basketball through the gate. Now, if I flip under power, I've got momentum. The ball's going to go further. If I'm stable, it's not going to go as far. So the students really have to learn, how much power do I have? What's my altitude? If I'm too low, I'm hitting the rim. So that's going to be more depth perception, because when we're in the field working, and let's say our drone's 300 yards away and we lose our video feed, we're now going off eyesight. So that's why the level 1 drones don't have cameras. So they're learning the depth perception with the ball, the throwing. And then on the school side, you can use that in geometry class, physics class, time over distance divided by to make your miles per hour is a great one. And what we're ramping up for now is going to be drone delivery. We're going to ping pong ball them up. They've got to go down through the gates, around the obstacle course, and back without dropping that ping pong ball. And this is where kids get excited. They want to go faster. But if I go too fast and I bank too hard, my ping pong ball falls off. We'd rather them lose a ping pong ball than a Red Epic $12,000 camera. So now, same thing. I've got to calculate, but it's live. So I've also got to watch out for other traffic. So now I'm introducing situational awareness. So those students that are going to go on to get their private pilot's license or move into commercial, it's a great skill set. So every game they play is going to be teaching them something. And then this afternoon, we'll wrap up with our racing, which is moving into manual piloting, which industry-wise, when we hire, we want manual pilots. Because when I'm out with a $100,000 drone and my screen goes out and the sensors glitch, we don't want to hear, oh no, what do I do? We want to hear, well, that stinks, but I've got full control of the aircraft. Let me bring it back.
Filing an insurance claim shouldn't be your only option, right?
That's a bad day.
You want to be able to land it.
That's a bad day. Yes, sir.
Very good. If you have time, can you explain also you have a virtual environment that the kids start in? Is that correct?
That is correct. So started for 2 reasons. A, everything we do is teacher-based. We need our teachers to succeed, so we succeed in getting pilots. They were saying, hey, Brandon, I've got 24 kids in the class. 12 of them are flying. The rest of them are going crazy, but I can't babysit them. So we opened the Rocket Drones portal. A, it's going to log all your curriculum, so it automatically grades all your quizzes. So your teacher doesn't have to grade anything. It's all there.
Auto grading,
automated.
gotta love it.
Absolutely.
Big fan.
We log every flight hour, because when you graduate, you can print that out, so you have a flight log. I need to see that for insurance purposes. And then we've also added our full-on WebGL simulators. The majority of schools around the country use Chromebooks, so we built a Google Chrome-specific simulator. So now while the 12 kids here are flying, the rest of you, hey guys, Dynamic Landing Challenger on the simulator. So we're introducing them to esports, keeping them busy, and then that's also competitive. So they're fighting for points on that as well. It's a good time.
I've enjoyed watching you guys build out your product. I mean, it's there's probably something else coming around the corner you can't talk about yet, or
oh, there's a lot of good stuff. Okay. You know, when a company stops innovating is when they go out of business.
Yep.
And the beauty of us being industry, we have that future of what we're going to need for hiring. So we're constantly modifying our games and our curriculum to
feels that
future-proof.
way. Yeah, just watching what you guys are doing,
It makes us tired,
highly purposeful. We get it.
but it's great.
Well, hey, thanks so much, Brandon. I know you're super busy today. We've been waiting around hoping to get a few minutes, and this worked out great. So thank you for making the time, for having us out today, and we'll look forward to connecting again and seeing all the awesome stuff you guys do.
Thank you for traveling in. Next year, I'm crossing my fingers. We have some Newberry Park students here exploring space camp with us.
There you
Put
go.
them on the spot.
We're going to tag you, Newberry Park. We're going to send this to you.
Calling you out. And besides that massive hill from Ventura up to the top where the school was, that was a rough hill on gas mileage. But love the school, so that was awesome. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Love
Thank
that
you.
you're here.
Before you leave, can you plug, like, where should people go to learn about rocket drones?
Yeah, hit up rocketdrones.com. Also on YouTube, the Rocket Drones channel has a ton of free information, informative videos. But yeah, if you hit up the website, pricing, breakdown, curriculum samples, everything's there.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
So, hey, we're here with Chris Tonn and co-founder, right, of Rocket Drones. We just heard from his co-founder, but we thought we'd hear from Chris a little bit. And Chris, maybe start out by telling us what you do at Rocket Drones.
So I am the head of operations here at Rocket Drones. It's a quite dynamic, teaching experience of going through skill set training, the interfaces that the kiddos are using to autonomously guide the drones in some of these ag environments and mapping environments, from all the way into our gamified atmospheres that lead into our monthly competitions and all the other just engagement that's lacking from an area of education that got overcomplicated too quick. So in a nutshell, operations never stops, and I love it.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So, as we talked about before with Brandon, like, you both have your own drone companies, commercial drone companies. Can you explain to us a little bit about the drone commercial industry and how your company fits into that?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Brandon and I, we met in high school, and we fast forward to like 12 years ago. BlackBerry, he was working at BlackBerry. I was coming out of the telecom business as well, and we both got in his veggie truck. It was a diesel truck that ran on veggie oil, and we drove. We drove
This
down.
is already a great story.
I know.
But I'll let you continue here.
We drive it down to South Florida, and there's this crash course in how to fly the new latest and greatest, what was a DJI Phantom 2, I think, at the time, and they had just started putting gimbals on them. We're like, this is the moment, we got to get involved. So we both go for this crash course, South Florida, drive down, just enough veggie oil to get us there and back.
What would you have done if you ran out of veggie oil? I love that scenario. Side conversation, but
it's just it switches back over to diesel.
Okay.
but the smell is not as good. So
it's like fries all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. But after that course, we instantly switched over to both launching our own drone businesses, his in Memphis called Mid-South Aerials, and mine in Pensacola called Pelican Drones. Brandon got pretty fortunate to land into some cool industrial spaces of focus, while Pelican Drones was able to pick up into the marketing world of things like Netflix's Tiger King, Austal Shipbuilding Automobile, and all their ships that they launch, things for sale categories of boats and homes and businesses. So those digital content components just never stopped, and Pelican is still rocking and rolling today, which led to the launch of Rocket. When we went to hire at both Mid-South Aerials and Pelican, we hit a bit of a curveball because the certifications we could find with kiddos, we just couldn't find the pilot skills. And what's my biggest fast track to growth is getting that pilot to a job site solo, where I'm not attached at the hip helping with all the components. So in a nutshell, we said there's a better way to get a foundation, get the kiddos up and flying, and gamify that experience so they don't even realize that they're learning the skill set while they're having fun with drone basketball or drone racing and so on. So,
I love that. So when the kids finish, and if they become drone professionals, what kind of jobs would they be doing?
So there is a long list of jobs that are growing, from drone mapping, drone agriculture, drone imagery. Obviously, we get into little niche ones too, of getting into lifeguard drones that rescue folks and do a lot of. Yeah. Well, it gets even better. They do shark watch as well, so they can get on the speakerphone and let you know, hey, you're getting a little close to a shark. Come back into shore. And see somebody swim real quick. We're also seeing a lot of the LiDAR scanning, because the drones can penetrate through vegetation. So these very rural or thick forestry areas where we need to do surveying, it's a big help. And not to mention, I may not be going to be a full-time drone pilot as a student coming out of high school, but I may be going into agriculture, or I may be going into construction. And if I've never flown a drone before, and I'm going into an industry that's adapting rapidly to drones, like agriculture and construction, doing inspections and so on, we also find that just giving the kiddos enough experience with the drone and the certification can be that differentiator when the interview comes and says, hey, I am the candidate that's never flown a drone before going for this traditional ag job, and I am the candidate that has. That person is probably going to have a pretty easy choice on choosing someone with that versatility factor. So
I love that additive skill set. And, as teachers, I love equipping my students with the skills that are going to make them be successful. And this sounds like a great one.
It's a lot of fun. We also get into a good bit of how these drones operate and work, the meat and potatoes, because not everybody, again, is attracted to just the piloting. Some kiddos want to know why the propellers are spinning that way and why the other ones are spinning the other way, and what's going on with how this data is coming through, as you might have seen over in the drone racing. We're tracking the drone as it crosses the finish line, so we know exact time points. And some of the kids are more interested in how that timer's working, and that's the three areas of drone opportunity. It's going to be drone piloting, drone software, and drone hardware. So if you're not interested in necessarily the piloting, there's still a lot to learn on those two other areas as well.
Well, very cool that you guys brought out an agricultural company today that was here kind of sharing their giant drones, which will have some awesome cutaway footage like right here that you'll see while we're talking.
That was really cool.
Right. But very cool to see that. And we actually both got to connect with, what's the gentleman's name that's here?
Well, there's two ag companies here. We have Scott and James, I believe.
James. I spoke with James for a while. Great dude. Kind of gave me the backstory on the industry and where it's at. And but how cool that you guys are actually bringing industry folks out to introduce to the teachers and the schools and the students that are here.
We have to. It starts with fun, and it finishes with painting the picture of where this fun can lead if you enjoy this skill set. So
that's very good. Well, thank you, Chris.
Of course. This is
Keep
super
up
fun.
the great work.
Thank
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
Today we had such an exciting and special episode as we got to talk to Brandon, the co-founder of Rocket Drones, here at Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're in front of a space shuttle. How cool is that? And we got to talk about how they founded this company to solve their problems because their commercial drone pilot company that didn't have enough pilots to be able to do what they needed to do. I love it when industry and education have this symbiosis together. And so we got to talk about their programs and how they can fit into small schools with the classroom sets and how they can do these really cool programs and their simulations and the races and stuff they're doing here. So we hope you enjoyed today's program.
And hey, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have problems, questions, or just want to connect, you can do that at our website, edtechunpacked.com. You can even submit an audio question we may play on the air, of course on social media, but bottom line, we'd love to hear from you.
And so educators, teachers out there, you've heard the request here and the support for you. You are not out here alone. We are here for you very much from the heart. We pray for you. There's a lot that is happening with our kids these days, and you are on the front lines. And so just know that we are here to help you, to support you in any way we can with EdTech.
And remember, there is no substitute for great teaching. It is not just about the tools and technology that you use, but how you foster meaningful relationships with your students to transform their lives. Be blessed.